wherever it is you're watching us, I want to invite you to send in your comments and your feedback, even as we get into our discussion for the day. As a young person, as an older person, a parent, a guardian, this is an issue that affects all of us. Okay, so 22999 is the SMS line. You can also reach us on our social media platforms at Switch TV Kenya on Facebook and Twitter, and at Switch TV KE on Instagram. So with that said, let me introduce my guests this morning. I have two ladies joining me. Here we have Faith Gishanga Osiro, who's a counseling psychologist, and also Mercy Shege, who's also a counseling psychologist. Welcome to the show to both of you. Looking good.
Thank you.
Good, good. All right, so let me just give a bit of context for this discussion, even as we get ready to talk about World Suicide Prevention Day. Now, the WHO, that's the World Health Organization, is urging action because it says there is one suicide every 40 seconds somewhere in the world. That is a staggering statistic. Okay, in a fresh report, the UN Health Agency said the global suicide rate has fallen somewhat between 2010 and 2016, but the number of deaths has actually remained stable because of a growing global population. And I don't know how that overall statistic reflects here in Kenya. I don't know if you guys have any data points to share, or even just from your experience, you know, how is Kenya faring in comparison to this global rate?
Okay. Thank you, Joyce. First of all, it's a bit difficult, especially in our country, Kenya, to have those statistics for various reasons. Number one, the way we collect data and we keep it, we are not at par with other developed countries, number one. Number two, the stigma around suicide. Therefore, for a family member, even though they lose someone through suicide, it's easier to say it was accident or it was something else. So our statistics in the country are not very good. Okay. But according to WHO, their statistics, which again they say it could be not be very accurate, but just what they have. They say we have, as of 2018, it was 3.2 people in a population of 100,000. So that was the crude rate, 3.2%. But it's
so that's like 3%.
I mean, per 100,000. So now multiply with the population.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
that's a crude rate. But they're very. They say we take that with caution because there's so many factors that surround why we don't have the correct statistics based on what you're talking about. Even just the fact that it's illegal. Yeah. So again, we'd rather not talk about it. Suicide is illegal in Kenya. Yeah. It's a criminal offense. Yeah. So all those things really affect our data when it comes to suicide. Yes.
But as we look at things, one of the major causes of suicide has been depression, right? Do we have any sort of understanding of whether that's on the rise, depression itself, or is it just that our culture, our society is becoming more open to talking about it and reporting cases of depression and issues of mental health?
Okay, thank you. Let me say, as we go on, people are trying to reach out, but before, let me say, even the symptoms and the signs, no one would even pick or notice them. But let me bring this across and say that young people are reaching out. The only problem is they are reaching out to the wrong people, the wrong persons, and that's why the rate of depression is getting high and getting out of hand.
Who are they reaching out to?
Well, you go to the peers and they'll actually tell you it's all right, you get over it, instead of what I would say is they should reach out more to, like, maybe they should go to a hospital, a professional, or even call the normal hotlines that are there, even if they're not suicidal hotlines. But they will direct you, because all these hotlines, they usually have a counselor behind that phone. So they'll do a first aid and they'll be able to refer you to a place where you should go. Yeah, instead of just talking to somebody.
So a lot of them are talking to their peers who are not trained in this, and then diminish the issues that these guys are actually facing.
Yeah, and they don't think it's a serious thing, which is
yes.
And
so are we then saying that the largest age group being affected by this is the young people, or in your experience have you counseled others outside of the youth bracket who are also struggling with suicidal thoughts?
Okay, so one of the things about suicide again, it seems to not even have patterns. Like you can't even compare what is happening in the US. In the US, they say between 45 and 54, it's a midlife crisis thing. But now globally, they say 15 to 29 are the most affected. So we even find there are no patterns per se. But the good thing about the young people, as my colleague is saying, they're reaching out more and more. I guess even the fact that more social influencers are coming out and talking about it, and you see they do that on social media, and that's where these young people are getting information. So yes, they're affected a lot more, the young people, but they're also reaching out much more than older people who are so set in their ways.
Right. And this is even scary to think about, but are there cases of not even teenagers but preteens or even children attempting to commit suicide? Mercy.
Yeah. These cases are reported because you see, like, I'll talk about what is happening in the media. There is too much about suicide cases going on, and these children, they watch and follow what we're doing. So whenever they get into a crisis, they don't know what to do. They want to do what other people are doing, and for them, they like modeling what other people are doing. So that's why even the children will try taking their lives. We are always talking about this, but we don't know that it's getting to people. We give the information, but we do not bring it down to their level. So in the media right now, we have so many suicide cases, and so you can imagine a child feels like, oh, my friend rejected me today. What do you do? They'll just relate to what happened to the news yesterday. Someone was rejected and they killed themselves, or they harmed themselves, and they do that. For them, they're doing it without knowing, but it's still suicide.
So how do we address it? Because we're here talking about suicide as well. How then do we, in our media platforms, how best, in your experiences, would you advise that we go through these discussions?
Okay, I'll say what we do in our organization. We do handle children through mentorship. So we try as much as possible talk about these issues the way they are and tell them what to do, instead of just letting them get the information for themselves.
Someone has done it.
Yes,
right.
Or get the information for themselves. Of course, they'll get very information that is not very helpful to them. So we involve the parents and the nannies as well. So they will be able to pick up these things and tell the children what to do, instead of them deciding what they do for themselves.
How young are we talking about? What are some of the cases you've seen?
Well, I'll talk about 8, 9 years.
8 or 9 years old?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
That's very young.
Yeah, the way they've been trying to commit suicide is you find that they've been trying to cut themselves. And that one happens when they're trying to show their pain, because their pain is too much deep, so they're trying to transfer the pain to physical pain, which they feel is better. Yeah.
Wow.
Just to add on to what my colleague is saying, so what happened is we created a gap. So we started reporting. So suicide cases have been there, but it was a hush. It's a family affair. People don't get to know about it. But now we are reporting it more. Social media, people are even talking about it more. So the gap is that there's that knowledge, and we can see this is happening, and it's happening a lot. It's being reported, but then there's no awareness and education and figuring out what this is. So this created that, what my colleague is talking about, that some people find, okay, maybe it's a solution. It's one of the things. Probably now they're more aware. Maybe when we were 8 years old and 9 years, we didn't know what suicide was. Now they know. But then also there's no now awareness and education. And so, Joyce, as you ask, what as media can you do, is other than just reporting statistics, and we love statistics, human beings, we love statistics, but awareness and education, because that also reduces, because what happened now, there was panic. There's so much suicide, and so it creates more myths and stigma and all that. So just more awareness and education, I think that will go a long way.
Okay. If you're just joining us, I'm talking to 2 counseling psychologists here with me. I have Faith Osiro and Mercy Shege, both counseling psychologists, and we're talking about suicide here in Kenya. A challenge to all media practitioners, though, that to go beyond just reporting statistics and cases of suicide to doing much more as far as awareness and information. And that certainly is one of the aims of this show. We always aim to be very educative and informative. And so we're going to be talking a bit later about prevention and how we as people within society can support those experiencing this level of emotional pain that they feel they want to harm themselves. And again, you can send in your feedback to 22999 and also to our social media platforms at Switch TV KE. I believe that's my cue to take a break right now, but we'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, and we're talking about suicide prevention tomorrow, September, or is it today? September 10th.
It's today.
It's actually today. It's today. World Suicide Prevention Day is commemorated annually on 10th September, which is today, and is organized by the International Association for Suicide Prevention with the World Health Organization as a co-sponsor. And so the purpose of this day is to raise awareness around the globe that suicide can be prevented, and that's exactly what we want to talk about right now. How can we go about preventing this? Okay, and so, ladies, let me begin by asking, first of all, maybe one of the first things about preventing this and a lot of other things in life is just talking and sharing. They say a burden shared is already half carried, right? And so, you know, how can we demystify therapy for Kenyans and in this African context? Because as lovely and beautiful as you ladies look, people are afraid of coming to talk to you. And they look like nice people, and I'm sure they're very nice people. But, you know, how can we demystify therapy? Because we don't like to talk about our problems. And so we bottle a lot in. And I'd want that response from both of you, so we can start here.
Okay. So we are going back to our culture, and where we really don't, as you're saying, we don't talk about our issues. So even one of the ways to approach suicide and mental health is going back to culture and talking about these things from a cultural perspective. That's one way to tackle it. Secondly is so even as counselors, we have a responsibility, and one of the things we've been trying to do, we also try to engage in social media. We go and give talks. So that's one of the things we are doing. We come and just talk to people and show them the face. You know, as you're saying, how we are sitting here, people get to see the face of you know, a counselor and what that looks like, and so that goes a long way. So we have a responsibility. But then also for the people going through these things, it's very interesting that once someone comes and experiences it, they're so sold out. In fact, they're the people who again now become they're the people who reference us, give referrals to other people. So the other thing is that the people who've gone through counseling therapy and it has worked for them, please be our advocate out there, because it's easier. I can sit here and talk, but I'm a stranger to that person. But if someone who knows Joyce, and Joyce has gone for therapy and it worked for her, if Joyce talks to that person, then that person is more willing to try it out. So the people who've gone through it can also be our advocate. But then thirdly, also just to know that counseling is that one place that you come and talk about anything and you're not judged. Because I think the other thing why we don't talk about our issues, whether with our family, friends, support group or anyone, is the fear of being judged. And suicide and mental health is one of those things. You're already feeling so bad about yourself. You're ashamed of it, of having the thoughts of wanting to end your life. So it's that one place you can come and talk about anything and you won't be judged.
All right. Mercy, as you answer that question, can you also answer the question, does therapy work for everyone?
All right. Let me first by saying, Faith has said it very well, that talking and getting to talk about you helps. Let me say, therapy works. It may not work for everybody, but I'm sure it can help someone from committing suicide. We're talking about prevention. And I'll say this, when someone, even if you're not a counselor, someone can talk to you and just don't even give advice. Sometimes they only need someone to listen to.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this for a fact, because when I'm talking to you, the truth is I'm listening to myself. And by the time I'm done talking to you, I might already have an answer to my problem without you even saying anything.
Yeah.
Because when you're seated there and you don't have anyone to talk to, everything is in you, and when it comes out differently. Or, well, what is that you asked about?
It was if it works for everyone,
Well,
but
maybe
even just demystifying therapy.
let me maybe talk about myself, because I survived depression and therapy worked. And all I did is go and talk and talk and talk. And every time I felt like I need to talk, I just kept talking and it worked. So people should not shy away from talking. What I usually tell people is one thing. If today you woke up feeling bad, what will you do? You'll go to the hospital. And then what happens? You don't even know what you have. They diagnose you, maybe you have diabetes, you have hypertension. What's the next thing that happens to you? They give you medication, or they tell you to do a lifestyle change, and that is what you'll do.
Yeah.
There is no difference between mental illness and other diseases.
Okay.
It is actually the same. It's only that it affects our mental abilities, just like the way the other diseases will affect your body. And let me tell you, people think depression can only affect you mentally. It affects your whole body.
Yeah, emotionally.
Exactly.
Physically, you stop eating, stop sleeping.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, a few people who suffer from depression, they have pains. When they go, many of them go to the hospital, they go saying, I feel so much pain, I feel like I don't want to eat. Those are the symptoms which are just like typhoid and anything else. So maybe what I would say is our doctors should be able to pick these up, and maybe don't tell you that some of them will tell you you're stressed, go home and relax. Instead of getting to that point, just refer you to a psychologist.
Perhaps doctors one of their courses in there should be like a mental health awareness class or something like that.
I agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
And actually I agree with that, and I think and I believe every person who handles somebody should do a bit of psychology, so that you know where this person is coming from. They need further investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you, though. I mean, at least overcoming depression, and now here you are counseling other people. You go, girl. Well done. All right. Well, as we continue our discussion here today, I'm very curious about how now we as individuals, as the society, whose role is it to help prevent depression? Because a lot of us can say, but it's not me. I don't even, talk to the person like that. And we don't realize how we post things on social media, or how we even respond to comments when someone has said something, and we just don't have that discernment. We don't have that emotional intelligence to understand, whoa, there's something deeper underlying that statement. So, how can we help prevent suicide, given this World Suicide Prevention Day?
Okay. First of all, I like what we're talking about, suicide prevention, because what we're saying is suicide is preventable. First things first. As much as we're hearing the statistics and numbers are going on, it is preventable. And the second question of whose role is it? Again, it gives me hope to know that this is one of the things that all of us wherever we are, we can do something about it. On an individual level, part of it is, are you going for therapy? Are you aware of yourself? Are you aware of the things that stress you? Are you willing to reach out? Are you taking care of yourself? Self-care, which is very important. And then another important group of people is the society, the people who are living with these people. As a counselor, Joyce, you're just saying how people are not very open to therapy. So very few people will end up in our therapy rooms. So as much as we want to help them, it is the people who are living with these people who are their first contact. They're the first people to see the signs and all. But it's such a you know, where I was saying we don't have awareness, we have no education. So a lot of people can see the person going down, but they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They even just try to avoid the person or say quite unhelpful things. So the society comes in handy, and that's in some of the things you're saying, even just being responsible about what are some of the things we are posting on social media. Bullying, that has become, you know, cyberbullying has become a big thing. You don't know the person at the end of that post, what
the
their
power of words.
what their mental state
Like we
is.
always say here, if you have nothing good to say, just zip it.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
So yes, and then also, can I educate myself enough to be able to pick signs of a loved one who's going through depression? Am I able to talk to them and just listen? In fact, what these people need a lot, in fact, they're talking to, it's listening to, and then hopefully urge them to go. And then there is, as again Mercy said, anyone who's handling people, and that's teachers, that's the police, that's doctors, that's pastors. I think all these people need to be aware of
and
some
in
level
my
of
mind, I'm
psychology.
thinking immediately about like police or security officers when say someone has been attacked. I think of a lot of different rape cases where someone has gone in a vulnerable state and they're just not handled well in that situation. So absolutely, I agree with you. Doctors, police, waongezwe kwa hiyo list ya training. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me read some comments coming here on our SMS line. Diana and Jerry from Mombasa, you say you're really loving the show. We've got everything covered and you can't wait to talk about relationships later on. Asante sana. Mao viewing from Maraba, massive, located westward from Thika. You say this is your best show every single morning. Thank you so much for that. Someone here says, good morning, Joyce. Loving the discussion. We should do more awareness and educate more people because we have seen kids at the age of 7 killing themselves. That's Irene Kendi watching us from Mombasa. That statistic still shocks me. Like, I can't even believe it. But someone here says, good morning, Joyce. I wanted to ask about what jobs put people at risk of depression. Some jobs like media or even police officers can make people so stressed. Ask the ladies on set if they have any measures that they think can be instilled in workplaces to help people deal with this and with stress. That's a great question. You don't leave me your name or where you're watching from, but asante sana. Mercy, let me throw that to you. You know, certain jobs, I don't know, in your experience, do you sort of see anything like a trait of like, oh, these ones also work in this industry, and a lot of them come in for therapy, and specifically in the workplace, tailing back on what Faith was talking about, what can we do in the workplace?
Okay, right. Yeah, so many jobs actually, they'll predispose you to getting a depressed life. I'll say like people who worked in the armed forces, they go through so much. Even normal jobs, like when you're handling children, maybe you see children are suffering, they are sick, doctors, even them, they go through so much. And these things usually get down to us and they become trauma. Maybe one thing I should say, and I've seen, many people come to me and they've been referred by their bosses. Yes. So some of the companies are taking the initiative, taking care of their staff. And what they do, they usually say like, I can't mention the companies, but I know some of the companies, if you get to a certain job level, every week or every month, you have to go for sessions.
Wow, kudos to those companies.
Yes. So that's
great.
Because you're handling, like maybe it's a big company that handles so many people. You're dealing with a different, every person is different. You can imagine having to deal with everyone with all kinds of stresses they come to you. How do you, then you empty, how do you take care of yourself? So they come to us and we're able to work with them.
Okay. Someone here also says, I think this phenomenon about suicide should be looked at carefully. My support if sport activities would be in many countries, I guess religious teaching, parents teaching, friends teaching, society teaching, this problem would go down. It's a bit unclear there, but I understand, you know, if we're just sort of providing opportunities and spaces for people to even express themselves, have outlets, you know, even exercise, they always say is very good as far as even your mental health. But again, societies, religious leaders, teachers, friends, let's all be trying to support one another as we fight to prevent suicide. Now, my time is fleeting, so I need to get ready to wind up here. But very quickly, Faith, can you talk us through what not to say, tell, or ask someone when you're suspecting maybe they're going through a hard time? How can we be sensitive in our conversations in the workplace, in school, in church, at home?
Okay. So these people, anyone who's going through suicidal behavior, is thinking about committing suicide, has even maybe planned for it, the biggest gift you could give this person is to listen. Now, we have not been taught how to listen. I know it's something we say listen, but we've not been taught how to listen. Sometimes it's in between also me telling you, giving you a piece of advice, but these people just need you to listen. Number one, they don't even need you to offer solutions. Yeah. If it's about solutions, ask them what options
What can I
do
do
you,
for you?
what options actually for them to brainstorm and think, because there are always options. But at that point when that person is there, it doesn't seem like it, but you can encourage them. Number two, do not trivialize what they're going through. Sometimes very well-meaning, Joyce, you will tell me what you're going through. You lost your job, and I'll tell you someone else is sick and has lost a job and has lost a child. So
you're diminishing.
Yes, it's like you don't have a right to feel what you're feeling because your issue is a bit small. It's small. It's smaller than, and we don't know which other factors, what makes you see this as much bigger. Maybe there are other underlying issues. We don't know that.
Okay.
So that's something else not to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we can take those 2 points as our takeaways this World Suicide Prevention Day for all of you as we go out today. Number one, listen, and number two, don't trivialize people's issues. Just don't do it. Okay. And I think those are good takeaways for us to walk away with today. But as we wrap up, let me allow you to, are there any sort of emergency contacts or things that people can reach out to in case someone is watching and needs some help?
Okay,
And you can also give us your contacts too.
All right. What I usually say, if you feel like you've reached the end, just go to any hospital, call any emergency number, because all emergency numbers usually have a counselor behind that phone.
Okay.
So call them and you'll get a first aid.
Okay.
Maybe I could mention that we have awareness campaign going on. We have teamed up with other organizations. We have a walk on 10th of October.
Okay.
It's a mental health awareness walk. 10th of October is World International Mental Health Day, and it's ongoing. And we're using hashtag Bring Back the Love. If you go to those hashtags, you'll find we've put their numbers where you can reach out.
Okay.
And even churches nowadays, many churches have a desk for counseling psychologist desk.
Yeah.
So don't shy away. Go anywhere. It's only that we don't reach out, but if you reach out, you'll get somebody to help you.
Okay.
Yes.
And if people wanted to reach you, how can they do so?
Okay. They can reach me on my mobile phone, which is 0722 861671. That's on a personal. But I also work for Amani Counseling, and there the good thing is you walk in. It's a walk-in. If you and there are various branches in Nairobi, we're in Bagathi and CBD. Just walk in and you'll be assisted.
Great. Ladies, thank you so much for this discussion. Thank you for coming through and shedding light on this. Biggest takeaway here, first of all, suicide is preventable, okay? And if you're in a place where you're struggling and you're watching this, you are loved, your issue is important, please reach out to someone to help you out today. We need you around, okay? With that said, we're going to get ready for our next segment, our lifestyle hour. We're going to bring in our red couch as we get ready to talk about relationships today. And you don't want to miss out on this conversation. Stay tuned.